he had a meeting with all of them the one Monday morning, and then after that he sent me an email to say that the pressure is just so immense that I have to make a decision that I don't want to make. In essence.
Wow. But you've thought about it. I mean, you have to. Because if you send a message, you don't get an answer. You've got to think.
Yes.
What is this?
Political parties are a cult. It's as simple as that. Well,
How do we get to realize that which we have to offer, even a portion of it?
We remove democracy.
What?
We remove democracy.
We must remove, or we have?
We have to.
Oh, we have.
It's just going to sound very simplistic, but like I treat people based on their character.
Really? Huh?
Yeah,
that's a unique approach. I hadn't really considered that.
Yeah, really. Like I know very few people know how to use power, and very few people know how much power they actually have. And I saw it all the time where the bureaucracy tells the minister that he has no power to do X, Y, Z when he actually does, but the minister doesn't know that he does as well. And it's not just my minister, there were others as well.
There's a certain type of person who walks into the room, flips the table of polite conversation, and then says, right, now we can start. My guest today, Roman Cabanac, is such a person. I'm Howard Feldman. Imagine if I was sensitive. Roman, welcome.
Thank you, Howard.
It's great to have you here.
I mean...
Well, actually, I'm saying that ahead of time. It might not be.
It could be terrible.
It could be terrible.
By the time I leave.
It could be terrible, yeah. Even maybe before that. So if you were appointed Minister of Common Sense in the GNU, in the Government of National Unity, let's say there was that portfolio, what would you do on your first day?
Fire every other minister.
Every single one?
Yeah, absolutely.
There's no one.
Yeah.
Nobody would.
No, not because they're incompetent. Because there's just too many of them, and we need to reset the entire thing.
Okay.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
So that would be your first decision. What's your second?
My second one is to immediately remove every single handbrake to investment in the economy. Every single one. It's very simple. It can be done tomorrow if there's political will. You just focus on what other countries have done. You look at the history of economics. You look at the history of prosperity.
And by other countries, you don't mean Cuba, eh?
I don't think they are very prosperous. No,
not at the moment.
You know, like those countries that people don't like.
That we love to hate.
Yeah, Singapore is a great example. Israel's a great example. El Salvador, Argentina now is the greatest example. And of course,
UAE.
The titan in the room.
So many, yeah.
The titan in the room is America. They follow simple principles at the time. It gets bureaucratic and corrupted after a while, but if you've got the foundations, the rest is relatively easy.
So we live in a country where, I don't know, potholes have their own personality. If you were to be stuck in one of them, would you rather spend the time stuck there with Julius Malema or Helen Zille?
Julius Malema.
Why?
Well, I know Helen Zille quite well. We've spoken a lot. I'm fond of her. But I do find communists, which Julius Malema is, I do find that they are very good conversationalists.
I get so confused. Can communists wear Gucci?
The newest ones can, yes, of course.
Okay.
Of course. I mean, Stalin had more money than
God.
Yes. So it's never been the case that communists were poor. I don't know of a single one. There was a president of Uruguay, though, who said he was a communist, and he drove an old Beetle, and he lived in the house he grew up as a child. That's the only example I can think of. But for the rest, it's a nice grift.
Okay. So let's talk about some of the things that makes you who you are. You say things very often that are very controversial, and I often wonder if it's to provoke, if it's because you really mean it, or you're just having fun and being mischievous.
Why not all three?
It could be all three as well. But that's the easy answer.
But what are the things that I say that are deeply controversial? Like I still to this day...
Yes.
What do I say?
What was the issue with you not being, or you being removed from your post?
Right. When they contrived an issue.
Yes, no, I accept that. And they knew whatever they knew going in. So that's why it was an absurdity.
Correct.
Because you weren't you didn't pretend to be...
No.
No.
To my great downfall.
Yes, you're not so good at that.
I'm not good at
Right.
putting masks on.
Fine. Okay. So you didn't pretend. You get offered, which position was it?
The Chief of Staff.
Okay.
To the Minister of Agriculture.
Great. Very, very nice. And then there's this reaction. Totally manufactured, contrived. I get that. I live the same world that you live.
Yes.
What happens? Who starts this? How does this gather momentum? Take me through this gathering tsunami of political groupthink.
So what you find out is, I was a bit naive, perhaps. You get offered this position as a government position, a government post, an official in the ministry. And the last thing you think of is, okay, what are the politics around it? The first thing you think of is, okay, what's the job? What do we need to effect? What's the strategy? How can we get a team together to do what we need to do?
Yeah, how can we win at this?
Like focus on the job, I would think is the main thing.
Mm-hmm.
But then you realize the job is actually secondary to the politics around the job. So in essence, I think there were different political factions in a certain political party, which was the opposition, but now is no longer the opposition, who had a knife out for the leader of that particular party, used me as a crux, used me as leverage, and stuck the knife in, and then the leader folded. And that's essentially what happens. Before I was asked to resign, every single member of that party spoke to me freely, offered assistance. I was in the weekly meetings.
Wow.
And then as soon as the minister went public with the fact that he asked me to resign, which is not entirely true, but anyway, we'll leave it at that. After that, zero communication from anyone. To this day, even when I send messages now of congratulations or condolences or, people live their lives and they have good and bad days, and sometimes they're under pressure from the media, and I always send a message, ignore the media, just carry on, you're doing a good job. Zero response completely. So it's weird.
Why do you think that is? Are they scared to go near you, or is that guilt? Or again, as you would say, a bit of both?
I'm not a psychologist by any means, but I think
but you've thought about it. I mean, you have to. Because if you send a message, you don't get an answer. You've got to think.
Yes.
What is this?
Political parties are a cult. It's as simple as that. Well, if you're in the cult, you're supported. Right. If you were in and now you're exiled from the cult, you're not supported, just like any other cults in the world. Yeah. So I think if you're not part of the inner circle, if you don't form part of the foundation of the party, if you weren't brought up in the party, you're always treated with suspicion. So the fact that the leader of that party came to me directly outside of the ambit of that party is, looking back, extremely brave and perhaps a little bit foolish on his part, without maybe thinking of the second and third order effects of that decision. But from the beginning, it really felt
why do you keep saying the leader, not John Steenhuisen?
Well, John Steenhuisen, yeah.
No, I'm just
the
interested.
Minister of Agriculture.
Do you have any relationship with him?
Well, not anymore.
Right. No, I'm just interested because obviously he approached you because he thought you were the right person for the position, and then must have come under enormous pressure, as we know you did.
Yes.
Where did that pressure come from, why?
So the evidence I received is that the highest echelons of the DA, which is called the Federal Executive Council, I believe, I don't know, they got different councils and different meetings with different people, but there's the highest echelons of the DA, he had a meeting with all of them the one Monday morning, and then after that he sent me an email to say that the pressure is just so immense that I have to make a decision that I don't want to make. In essence.
Wow.
And on that council is all the provincial leaders of the DA, the CEO, the federal chairperson, the DA leader. I mean, these are the top brass. And it appears that they made the decision, which is a bit, well, I mean, we can get into that, but it seems unlawful that a political party can make a political decision on a government official that is not a member of that particular party.
It's also interesting because I keep trying to think or put myself in his position. It must have been enormously difficult. He's just entering this GNU. There's a lot of work to be done. There's a country in desperate need. Is this the hill that he chooses to immediately die on, or not die on, but go to war on? Or does he say, I know it's wrong, I have a moral, ethical responsibility that I am that I'm actually not fulfilling to somebody that I've put in this position, made his life miserable because of what's followed. But at the same time, I've got to make this decision because I need to look at the whole country and my party.
Well, I think a lot of that is manufactured. That thing is like the whole country is on tenterhooks.
It was completely manufactured.
Yeah, of course.
I'm not assuming for 1 second
right.
that it wasn't. This fake outrage is the fuel of our own destruction.
But they are not. It's not just a binary. It's not yes he must go or no I stand by him. There's many iterations in between.
Right. That's true.
The one that I suggested to him was perhaps just say, listen, I hired him. If he's not fit for purpose, in 6 months he's gone. Simple as that. But I made the decision, I'll stand by it, and I'm going to put immense standards on my chief of staff to perform adequately. And if he doesn't, he's going to go and walk. But for now,
was it
my
about
decision.
the capability, or was it about the allegations of racism, of all sorts of other things that we can throw? We just like to throw at people when we've got nothing really.
It was purely that. It was purely the so-called allegations. I mean, even the economic freedom fighters said they went to ChatGPT and said, make the longest sentence full of insults you can find. Yeah. So I was homophobic, anti-Semitic, weird, racist.
I did not.
Yeah.
I did not even know that.
Okay, podcast over. Thanks.
No, we are so done. Yeah, done. I didn't recognize the anti-Semitic.
Me neither. I read the EFFs, like they know me so well. Even I didn't know these things about me. So it was just mass hysteria over tweets from who knows when, made in jest or as a joke or to be mischievous or provocative,
and
whatever.
All those things we spoke about earlier.
X is my playground. I'm allowed to say and do whatever I want. I stand by what I say. Hold me responsible, sure. But if there's no hate speech, which there never is, if there's no threats, it should mean very little what people put on X for the most part, really.
And what is the role of a provocateur anyway? Like, surely that's our job. That was, I don't want to make this about me at all, but isn't that our job? Aren't we meant to have the conversations that others are either afraid to have or haven't thought of having?
So I'm not a provocateur in terms of I'm not one of these people who wants to break down categories of speech and anything can do what they want. I don't believe that at all. But I refuse to be a subject of the censorship mass media complex that we are living under, which is corporate shareholder driven, and whatever increases shareholder value is what is the message of the day. And shareholders and corporates, as you well know, are very risk averse. They are very scared about reputation, and they spend lots of money on maintaining their brand and ensuring that the most mediocre people have a column to write the most mediocre things in line with whatever they think.
I'm not sure I agree with you on that, because I would argue that a publication like News 24 that has removed people like me because maybe we didn't subscribe to groupthink. I would argue that has resulted, not because of me, I'm just a symptom of it, but in reduction of shareholder value. The proof is in their results.
Well, yes. I don't think you are directly responsible. Sorry to say, Howard.
No, I am. You are an anti-Semite.
Well, if I say your power is beyond your
that
control,
is true. That is true. Do we control the press or don't we control the press? This is the problem. This is
the fine line I have to tread.
Right.
But the proof is in the pudding in terms of that the entire model is broken and not fit for purpose in the year of our Lord 2025. And the more under threat, the more threats that come to it, the more they actually lager,
which is quite ironic.
Which is ironic,
and
yes.
Not a description that'd be very comfortable with. Lagering. Yeah, right. Definitely not. So, in terms of this country of ours, this country with magnificent potential, with the most wonderful people. And I really believe
me too.
that, and it's interesting, again, because and I was called by the same mob that construct long sentences. Well, it was an association, of an affiliation or whatever they were. But I have been called a belligerent and unrepentive Zionist.
Right.
Yeah, which I actually didn't have a problem with.
Which is true, I suspect.
Pretty much. Anyway, but never mind that. So, but yet this is all in the press, and this is all on social media. You walk out in the streets of South Africa, and it is a country filled with amazing people. It is a country of amazing potential. How do we get to realize that which we have to offer, even a portion of it?
We remove democracy.
What?
We remove democracy.
We must remove, or we have?
We have to.
Oh, we have to.
Because there's a very good theory, interesting theory of decolonization.
Okay.
That I read from someone who is a conservative historian, not a radical on the left. And what he said is that once the decolonization process of Africa started in the 60s and then matured and ended up to the 70s or 80s, the borders were actually drawn in such a way that there will always be majority ethnic tensions for each African country.
Okay. Yes.
So in South Africa we have.
It was a construct, and a very sometimes dangerous one.
Very much more. Rwanda is a good example. Over here, it's maybe less. It's felt less, but if you look at the leadership of the ANC over the last 30 years, you had Xhosa domination with Thabo Mbeki and Nelson Mandela. Then you had Zulu domination with Jacob Zuma. And now you have someone in the middle who's Venda, the president, who's trying to juggle all these other groups together around a common goal, which I don't know what that goal is, by the way. I don't think they know either. Then the Zulus feel offended by the fact that they're not represented in the ANC, so they start MK party, for example. If we continue with democracy in a proportional manner, the way which we are doing now, you're just going to have a never-ending fight of sort of dominance amongst the different groups of South Africa.
Right.
So, in actual fact, we need to become a Singapore and have a benevolent dictatorship, in essence, or decentralize political power to the provinces as much as possible.
Can you think of a benevolent dictator? Not you.
Lee Kuan Yew? Oh, in South Africa?
Yes.
For the moment, no. I don't think there's anyone ruthless enough. And I hate to say this, I don't think there's anyone smart enough to do it. I'm sure there are a lot of people who can fit that category, but they're not in public or I don't know them. But in terms of the political class, no.
Okay. Well, it is an approach. It is an approach, and it is yours, and I do hear that. It was interesting going back to a tweet of yours and this whole anti-Semitism thing. You wrote on Twitter, I think, was it last week or the week before? It was fascinating that you've never had a reaction to what did just take me through what you said?
What did I say?
I don't know. Give the sentiment.
I just said something to the effect that the anti-Jew hatred on Twitter is like already getting to me. I'm trying to block it out, but it's very pervasive. Something like that.
Yeah.
I got 1.5 million impressions, and everyone's saying, actually, Jew hate is completely fine. We'll explain why. I'm like,
it's our fault. We caused this. Did you know that? Because being kicked out of, I don't know, somebody's keeping tally, by the way. They
it's
keep telling me that.
Countries for now, right?
Is that 109?
Correct.
I couldn't actually remember the
110
number.
soon.
Yeah. Generally,
careful.
we don't keep track on all of the countries that have kicked us out. But therefore, it's got to be our fault, right?
Yes. Or according to them.
Yes,
not me, according to them.
I know. But so, I mean, you haven't been particularly involved in Israel. You haven't made it a focal point. No. Nor this whole Jewish anti-Semitic thing, but suddenly, well, as it happens, it sort of entered your universe. Give me your impression of it.
Of what, anti-Semitism in general, or
yes,
what?
Just in what you've seen, how you've come to actually understand, confront some of this stuff.
So you have this weird partnership, and the partnership is sort of Islamic intellectuals, which are mostly Western, and the sort of woke left coming together.
Yes.
So you got Free Palestine for like trans people or something, right? Which I think is fantastic.
Yeah,
they should go.
The Darwin Awards.
They should go and have an oversight visit to Gaza immediately.
The Gaza City Gay Parade. It's going to be big.
So, but this
partnership, on top of buildings,
this partnership is so interesting to me, because where in the world would you think of two so not even different, but like hateful people of each other in the normal sense of the world coming together against the Zionist state of Israel, for example? And this is embodied in this potential New York mayor, whose name I forget now, the Ugandan Indian, who is like, intifada just means like resist. It doesn't actually mean like bomb Israel off the
the fact that thousands of people were killed in the last intifada, because that it really does mean blowing up bombs and bombing people in restaurants.
But there's also another weird scenario. So I find it strange. Okay, I'm going to have two things. Just let me go through this. So in Germany, they just made a law or regulation that says, which is basically a shit test for immigrants. It says you have to accept Israel's existence, which I think it's fine. It's a bit weird to me. Like, why don't you just say, I support German law, German culture, and I want to be in Germany. That should be sufficient.
Because it shouldn't be about Israel.
To pledge allegiance to a third country, it's a bit weird, right? So people look at that like, oh, you see, Israel controls whatever.
Control the whole world.
And on the other hand, where was I going with this? Oh, yes. Then the sort of conservative right wing of America are now saying, we spend too much money in Israel. They have too much influence through AIPAC and things like that. And therefore we must, America must become far more nationalist, worried about itself and not worried about these other countries around the world and things like that. So you got this two-pronged approach where you have woke Islamism and conservative nationalist MAGA sort of agreeing on the same, not agreeing, but they have the same sort of mentality around Jews and Israel, which I find very fascinating. And since October the 7th, I mean, I've never seen anti-Semitism like this online, in public, but without shame. Like, without shame. Like, normally it's been like, oh, we need to worry about X, Y, Z. But now it's like just like...
it's a free-for-all.
They like eat babies.
You've got to go through mine. I mean, the amount of time that I'm called... I don't know, Humpty Dumpty and eggheads. I mean, the abuse is just, and it might be all of those things, which is fine. Right. It really, I'm not particularly, in fact, I'm not sensitive at all, but I am working on that. But the truth is, what you're saying is an age-old approach to Jews. We are the communists and we are the capitalists. So I'm probably as much, not lately, in the beginning of, since following October 7th, before October 7th, anything that happened in South Africa that I criticized is, well, you Jews brought the ANC, you brought democracy, it's your fault. And then immediately thereafter, we Nazis, we want to bring apartheid back. We are, so we both, we always have been absolutely everything to everybody. Your power is immense. It's immense. We control the media. We control the weather. I do say that, by the way. That's great. You see, now had you stayed in the position in the Department of Agriculture, we could have spoken. We could have. We could have come to some arrangement around the weather. But anyway, we wouldn't have the drought of last year. Exactly. No. So we are absolutely used to it. But what is interesting is what people aren't realizing, and I think that your point around Germany is a very valid one, because what people aren't realizing is that it's not about Israel. And it's not about Gaza. It's about a war against Western values. Mm-hmm. And it shouldn't be. When Discovery Health was being there was an attempt to hijack their board recently. The biggest mistake was to make it about Israel. It had nothing to do with Israel. The bottom line is that people on the board need to be on the board to represent the Discovery clientele. It had nothing to do, and the fact that anybody allowed Israel into that dialogue was a huge mistake, because it wasn't. And by doing what Germany did and what many people around, for example, the discovery conversation did, was they let other people dictate the agenda.
Correct.
And the agenda actually has nothing to do with Israel. That's just a way in, and it's a way to impose other people's or a system where it shouldn't be.
And for me, I'm not Palestinian, I'm not Jewish, it's not my country, I've never been there.
Really should. It is awesome.
That's what you would say. That's what a propagandist would say.
Wow. Yeah, Hasbara. And I'm being paid by the Israeli government.
Excellent.
Yeah, I just can't find the account.
Just send me.
Yeah.
I was also told that Mossad pays me, but like I'm not, it's just going to sound very simplistic, but like I treat people based on their character.
Really? Huh?
Yeah,
it's a unique approach. I hadn't really considered.
Yeah,
that.
really. Like I know, bad people, bad Zulus, good Zulus, bad Jews, good Jews, Greeks. I mean, well, Italians, I don't really get along with them, but
as a rule,
just a little bit over the top for my liking. But right. It's funny enough.
I should introduce you to some Jewish friends then.
But I got Jewish friends, I've got Muslim friends, I've got.
But I think that goes back to what South Africans are capable of. And I really believe that.
But that's what they do, Howard, on a daily basis.
It's how we live. How we live.
I have a house with Muslim tenants, and the estate agent who put them in is very Zionist.
But Jews and Muslims have all, especially in South Africa, have always got. I'll never forget. I was at varsity once, and I had a religious Muslim friend, and we bumped into each other at a shop, and we were just standing and chatting, and about 4 times people came up to him to ask for sizes, and he said to me, it just really doesn't pay to be a Muslim in a clothes store. And anyway, it was just very funny because if it wasn't him, it was us who the retailers. But then it came to, at that time, El Quds Day at varsity, and we were on opposite ends, opposite sides of this barricade. But then the barricade came down, and we carried on being friends. And to me, that was almost just what South Africa should be. We can have political opinions. We can have views that somebody else really might not like.
Yeah.
So?
Yeah, I mean, that's the point, and that's the point of free speech. And I'm not a liberal by any means, but
no, God forbid.
But sort of in those sort of classical liberal values of free speech and all that, I'm fully on board with it. But I mean, yeah, it's strange. I would never have thought since October the 7th that Israel would be the one under attack, or Jews in general would be the ones under attack. I mean, it's just, if I was the leader of a country and that happened to my country, what are you supposed to do?
Well, it's a fair question.
Yeah.
Are you more scared of being misunderstood or forgotten?
Oh, that's interesting. Well, I'm not scared of being misunderstood because it happens every day.
You just got used to it.
So possibly
fair enough.
Possibly the latter. But I don't want to be known just to be known. I mean, I put things into the world, and if you find it interesting, great. If you hate it, great. But I never had this need to be a celebrity or to take people to take selfies with me.
Well, hold on. So you don't have you never done a Get Ready With Me video on TikTok?
No. Oh, that's where you put your blush and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
What's up with women, right?
Men are getting ready with me as well. I've seen it. I don't know what I would do. Yeah, who would want to
I'm not on TikTok.
Get ready. No, I'm not either.
Yeah.
But you can do it on Instagram as well. What do you hope people will say about you in 20 years' time?
I don't care.
No, come on, you do.
I really don't. Okay. I care about what my family thinks about me. I
was just going to say, what do you want your kids, your family in 30 years' time to say about you?
He was present and he did everything he could to give us a great life. Keep it very simple.
Cool. Yeah. Before you die, God forbid, and I'm sure you're not ill.
Sure.
But what do you still need to do?
What I still need to do? And my goal is to make South Africa a place where my children can grow old. Mm-hmm. Still trying to find out how to do that. Or shake down people who have lots of money who can help me do that. So I used to think politics was...
This is an appeal.
I used to think politics was the answer. Now I don't think it is
well,
at all anymore.
Considering how you
Yeah, but even before
But
then,
that's actually interesting because your experience was a step into politics.
oh, very much so.
Does that mean you'll never go back to it?
It depends how much power I have.
Was it that painful, difficult?
No. I'm not traumatized or anything like that. It was a very difficult time period. Don't get me
there's
wrong.
no doubt. I can
But I'm very
imagine.
resilient, and I've got a very good family and very good friends. So no, it's not. It's what you need is the authority to actually effect something. And what you find out when you get into there is like there's very few people who can actually do that. Not in terms of ability, but in terms of actual legitimate political power. So Helen Zille, God bless her, I think she's great in various ways. She has zero power to change South Africa until she's a president or until she is somewhere in that echelon of authority. But to get that authority is incredibly difficult. Even as a minister, you're bound by what the cabinet wants, then you're bound by what legislation says, then you're bound by...
And you only serve at the invitation of the president, which
Correct.
can change in an afternoon.
And you can't go against the general principles of the department, you can't go against the cabinet. You actually... Very few people know how to use power, and very few people know how much power they actually have. And I saw it all the time where the bureaucracy tells the minister that he has no power to do X, Y, Z when he actually does. But the minister doesn't know that he does as well. And it's not just my minister, there were others as well. So it's incredibly difficult to get anything done in a democratic state like us based on proportionality and based on all the handbrakes to actually just effecting something. So the only way I'll go back in is if I'm dictator, essentially.
Right, look.
And I don't think that'll happen.
No, and I'm kind of hoping it doesn't. But so, tell me about something in your a moment in your life that was profoundly uncool. Obviously, aside from your political.
I've always been cool. No, I'm joking.
Alrighty.
What was uncool? I don't know. What do you mean by that? Like, what is the?
Okay,
what's the crux?
I want to know a moment that you were just uncomfortable with, that you could have handled things better. Maybe it made you just struggle a little bit through it, and
there's so many. I don't know. When I was at Wits doing my law degree, it was about 3 years before Rose Must Fall came out, and universities became battlegrounds. But I remember every so often there would be a protest, and they would come on into the lecture hall, stamp on desks, throw your books out, and everyone would just get up and leave. And I always wanted to take a stand and actually punch someone, and I never had the bravery to do it. Probably for the better.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
Looking back,
I think that sounds like a smart decision.
But it felt like a moral failing at the time.
Yes. If you could force South Africans to read one book or philosopher or follow somebody, who would it be? As a benevolent dictator.
As a benevolent dictator. I mean, all the philosophers I know are sort of accused of being Nazis, which they're not. So it's very difficult.
Look,
anything that's
petrified to ask you reading then. Yeah.
So Carl Schmitt is one. Friedrich Nietzsche is. I mean, I read these in the past, not now.
Yes.
But it is actually a wonderful book. It's a historical book by, I forget his name, but it's called The Covenant. It's by an American historian called John something. And The Covenant is basically a history of South Africa. But instead of just saying the historical details, he creates a story and includes the historical details in it. And I found that book to be one of the best examples of
Wasn't Mishnah? Wasn't James Mishnah? No.
Yes, Mishnah, something like that. The Covenant, written in 1980. I found a copy by mistake at a second-hand bookstore for 10 Rand.
Yeah, I'm a little book obsessed as you can maybe.
I can tell.
Maybe.
But it's the best historical account of South Africa.
So interesting. I'm actually going to see if I can find it.
And I highly recommend it to everyone. It's such a great read. And it, as I said, it talks about Jan van Riebeeck having a conversation with this person, but this person is a fiction created for the intent of the story.
It just brings it alive.
It does bring it alive. And what you find out is South Africa was the only colony that wasn't a colony, the Dutch had no inclination to actually create any colony here.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted a little border post or a trading post, and that's why they allowed the settlers to come in and just do whatever they want, become trekboers, and the trekboers moved all over the country, getting into all sorts of wars and adventures and whatever the case might be. It's a fascinating book about our country, and it's the one that I would highly recommend everyone reads.
Finally, what gives you hope?
I don't believe in hope.
Absolute rubbish. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be disrespectful.
Right.
But you are, I know you present as in a certain way. You are a deeply resilient and optimistic person. That means that you believe strongly in the ability in things getting better and being better. What gives you hope?
So I'll do the opposite.
Okay.
What gives me hope is how terrible and mediocre the ruling class is. And that vacuum that they leave behind allows people like you and I and everyone watching to actually become immune to the ruling class. Small things like getting off grid with solar or technology makes it a lot easier to not rely on the ruling class for anything. Then I think as time progresses and time goes on, in fact, it's happening right now in many parts of our country, people are going to usurp the power of the ruling class and localize it for themselves. Whether it be security, whether it be energy production, whether it be international relations, whether it be diplomacy, tertiary education, all these things are coming at such a rapid rate in this country that you're going to create a very, very resilient pioneer citizenship, really. And the auspices of the national ruling class matter less and less every single day. So that's what I'm very grateful that we are led by not so smart people. And I'm not talking about politicians, I'm talking about people in corporates and the rest of it.
That is where we leave it. If somebody wants to follow you, how do they do that?
At Lover, no, I'm joking. It's at Roman Cabanac on X. That's the best part. That's the best way.
It is, absolutely. And thank you. Thank you for coming through and having this conversation. I certainly did enjoy it.
I'm glad.
So I think that was very, very good. Leave comments below. Don't forget to follow and let me know what you think. I'm Howard Feldman. Imagine if I was sensitive.